Hello, Tom Bird here at Draycote. Welcome to the latest instalment of the Flyfishstore YouTube channel. This video today is going to be looking at some bank areas for fishing into April and May. As the water warms, the fish move into the margin, and this time of year the bank fishing really starts to excel. So we're going to show you some areas that you want to be targeting. We're down here at the Swan's Nest now. We're going to look at the setup and hopefully give you some hints and tips to get out on the bank and enjoy the fishing into April. So let's look at those areas on the bank and show you where you want to be heading for. So the first hotspot we're going to look for fishing the bank in April is the Swan's Nest. Now there's always been a bit of confusion about what is actually the Swan's Nest. The Swan's Nest is the first bit of fishable bank in Toft. You'll see from this picture at the top of the shot we've got the trees and then a large group of stones. That's where the swan used to actually nest, so that is the Swan's Nest. However, a lot of people class all the way sort of a bit further down this bank as the Swan's Nest. So the reason this is a really good hotspot going into April is that it gives you access to slightly deeper water. So as you can see at the top of the Swan's Nest, it will just go a bit closer now. Where those rocks are, we have areas of deeper water sort of straight out in front of us, and then it shallows up to the left a little bit and shallows up to the right. So that means when it's sunny, the fish can drop off into that deep water, feed a little bit deeper on the buzzers, but they've still got the access to the shallow waters where the buzzers are going to be hatching. As the water temperature starts to increase, we start to get near that magic sort of double figure water temperature. So the next area that we're going to look at for fishing the bank is the willow tree in Toft. So this is down the bottom end of Toft. The first shot shows it looking sort of halfway down Toft, looking back towards the willow tree. It's a really good area. It's down near the Nature Reserve, boys, which is the shallow end of Toft. So as we start to get into April, the water temperature increases. That shallow water we've got down there warms up first. We see large hatches of buzzers, and also it's got a little depression just to the right hand side of the tree, which means the fish can also drop in there. You know, any changes in topography on the bank really do help to hold the fish in there. So it's another good area, well worth fishing. So the next area we're going to look at is the cornfield. It's probably the largest section of bank, taking up quite a lot of that north shore. Starts off at the bottom. We've got some willow trees down towards the bottom. It's quite a shallow area there. We see a high proportion of buzzers hatching off, and the trout really like the cornfields because it's quite a uniform gradient, so it means the fish can come tighter up that marginal shelf. And when the buzzers are hatching off there, it's not too deep, so we'll see a high proportion of buzzers hatching off early. When we, just as we're getting into this time of year now and we start to see the water temperatures increasing, it's the margins that are going to warm first, and that's where we'll see the greatest buzzer hatches. And often with that, that's where the fish go. So the cornfield's a very consistent area for buzzer hatches, and also because of that uniform gradient all the way along for most of the cornfield, it's a very consistent area. So we see a lot of bank anglers catching. We don't see sort of one standout man who's managed to get on that sort of depression like we might see on the Swan's Nest or by the willow tree in Toft. The cornfield will fish consistently, so you'll get 5, 6, 7 anglers down there, and they'll all be catching quite nicely on buzzers. As we get up towards the top end of the cornfield, it gets a little bit deeper. We've got some larger rocks, so we do have some little bit more changes in the gradient there, some deeper holes and things like that, and as a result that end of the cornfield tends to fish a little bit better if we've got cold days, a cold wind and the fish are sitting deeper, or the brighter days. It gives access for those anglers to get into the deeper water. The final area we're going to look at is the old pipe in Biggin. The old pipe is an old land drain pipe that comes down from the golf course. The actual pipe offers nothing to us as anglers. It doesn't add any benefit. The reason it's such a good area is the topography and the structure of the bank in that area. So to the left of the old pipe, looking into the main bay of Biggin, it's quite a shallow area. It's quite silted, so as a result of this, it's a perfect environment for buzzers. Due to it being shallow, it warms up early, so we get a lot of early season buzzers and a lot of the larger buzzers coming off from this area. Then, if you're stood directly in front of the old pipe, 5 yards to the right hand side of it, the water starts to shelve off and deepen quite quickly. This means it makes it the perfect spot for holding fish on the brighter days, when the fish might be sitting in the deeper water away from the harsh glare of the sun, and also perfect for when it's perfect feeding conditions and those fish are pushing up into the margins to the left of the old pipe, feeding hard on the buzzers. So at the old pipe you can intercept fish that might be going to the deeper water to sit and rest up, or are feeding, or are moving between the shelves to do the two. So that's why it's such a good spot. Really want to get out there and give a go. So we spoke about the areas. Now we're going to talk about my actual setup for fishing at this time of year. If the water warms into April, the fish will move into the margins and the buzzers will start to hatch off in the shallow water that warms up first. As a result, we want to make sure that we're keeping our flies in that taking zone in the shallow water for as long as possible. So this is when I would tend to use a washing line, is any buoyant fly on the point, and then you've got your droppers, either 1 or 2, and they're pegged out on that line. So you get a U-shaped profile in your leader. You've got the buoyant fly on the end, and then you've got your 2 or 1 droppers pegged out on that leader. And what happens is the buoyant fly on the end will get pulled down by your buzzers or your nymphs, and they'll sink slowly through the water column. So that means you can fish it absolutely static or very slow into the deeper water, and it will slowly sink down to where the fish may be, or you can cast it into the shallower water and it should suspend off the bottom. So the flies we're going to go for today, I've got a fab on the point. This is just a foam arse blob, a little bit of foam in the back just to bring the fish in, and also hopefully hold the flies off the bottom. And then because it's warming and we're coming into April, there'll be lots of buzzers. So these are the 2 buzzers I've gone for. So this is, you'll see they've both got a little bit of flash on. So this is just a gold cheeked red hollow buzzer, and this is a Mirage t-shirt paint buzzer. So it's got a little bit of an accent of colour on there. They've both got a little bit of flash, and that is to help the flies stand out from the thousands of black buzzers out there. You want a little bit of flash, a little bit of something that's going to draw the fish in. Hence why I've gone for both of those. The leader I've gone for is some Fluoroflex Strong. You'll see it's the 2X, so it's the 11.2 pound. It's quite a strong fluorocarbon. The reason for that, there's also, you know, at this time of year, they've got stockings going in regularly. You know, we've already put in nearly 8,000 fish. There's another load coming shortly. That's going to be sort of 12,000 fish that are going to be in the lake. So you might be getting a chance of multiple fish when they're shoaled up, hitting you hard, and you want to make sure you've got strong leader. The good thing about this is it's nice and thin. That's the reason I use the most expensive, high quality fluorocarbon I can, because I want it as strong and as thin as I can get, and that's what this does. So what we'll do is we'll set up the rod, we'll show you the leader makeup, and then we'll get down fishing and hopefully catch some fish. So we've got ourselves set up. I've already shown you the flies that we're going to use. I'll just show it you now all set up on the rod. So I've gone for a Rio Grande line. The reason I've done that is because it's a short headed line. It's 39 feet and it's quite heavy at the taper towards the front end. So what that means is it's going to help to kick those flies out, turn those flies over, and also I can load the rod with a, you know, without aerialising much line on a short back cast. So the leader I've gone for a 15 feet leader, and the flies are spaced 5 feet apart. So when I'm spacing my leaders, all I do is that is about 5 feet. If you went the full span of your body, that'd be your entire height. For me, that's about 5 feet. So then what I've done is I've attached my droppers, which you can see there, with a 3-turn water knot. It's quite a long dropper, but I like to sort of change the flies. What I'll do is I've done a video with 3-turn water knot on the YouTube channel previously. What I'll do is I'll drop a link to that video down in the description below, so if you want to know how I would perform a 3-turn water knot, just go back and watch that. It's easier to see rather than trying to show you with fluorocarbon out on the bank. And then we've got the fab on the point. The reason I've gone for the sort of the 15-foot leader is the longer the leader you've got and the more spaced out it is, the slower the fab will descend. If you've got your buzzer really close to that fab, it'll pull it down really quick, because obviously you've got a lot of weight towards it. What we'll do with this is we'll accentuate that U with a long leader. A lot of people struggle to say, oh, I can't fish a long leader. The key bit with a long leader is just to make sure when you hang your flies, you just do a nice roll cast and lay all those flies back on the water, nice straight line, before you pick the cast up. And then it's exactly like a normal cast. Then you've just got your leader nice and straight. A lot of people, when they're struggling with the long leaders, it happens when they try and just pick the flies straight up out of the water, and it just causes a big tangle, because you need a little bit of line out that you can roll out, just enable to pick up that long leader. If you do that, you'll have no problems. So that's how we're going to get set up. Hopefully we'll get down there and catch a few fish. on the flies that we've got set up. Beauty about this time of year as well is if it starts to go cold, or that you think the fish have dropped, all you can do is just take the fab off, put another buzzer on, put a little weighted black and green on, and you know, still fish it slow, and hopefully that'll get you the fish as well. But I'm sure that the washing line will work today. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. That way you're going to get the latest updates on the latest videos that are coming out throughout the year. There's going to be loads, fishing from the bank, fishing from the boat, tackle reviews, things like that. So it'll help keep you updated. If you've got any questions, just comment below and we'll respond. Or alternatively, feel free to ask when you're on your next visit to either Draycote, Thornton or Ibrook.